serve my country. At this time, we are going to vary from the program. We're going to have Mike Bond introduce Mr. Loran D. Maloney, who will give the Patrick Henry Freedom Speech.
In the spring of 1775, the American colonies were in crisis. The city of Boston was under martial law, but the citizens were defiant. In Virginia, the delegates to the convention are anxiously heading for Richmond to discuss the escalating crisis. It is a sultry day, so the windows of the church are opened and crowds gather outside, straining to hear the proceedings. After the preliminaries, the atmosphere at the convention turns gravely serious. Independence from Britain is the unspoken and explosive question on everyone's mind. Is it now time to fight? Can the stripling American colonies stand a chance against the British superpower? Is this rebellion or lawful resistance to tyranny? For 2 long days, the questions are debated vehemently, yet the delegates remain unresolved. There is no decisive vote, no clarion call to action. Patrick Henry then takes the floor to defend his motion to arm the militia, which several key leaders of the convention had criticized. With the determination and courage characteristic of all great leaders, Henry addresses his colleagues.
No man, Mr. President, thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the very honorable gentlemen who have just addressed the House. But different men often see the same subject in different lights, and therefore I hope it not thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of a character very opposite to theirs, I should speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment to this country. For my own part, I consider it as nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery. And in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only in this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill the great responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Should I keep back my opinion at such a time, through fear of giving offense, I should consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and of an act of disloyalty to the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against the painful truth and listen to the song of that siren until she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging the future, but by the past. And judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes with which gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and the House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourself to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations that cover our waters and darken our land. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation. The last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose not be to force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call for such an accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir. She has none. They are meant for us. They can be meant for no other. They are sent over to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry has been so long forging.